Today we are seeing data centers under the water. Today we are seeing data centers in the desert. In the future, they're saying there will be no job description. You cannot take India as a one geography. A lot of large players are developing their indigenous, their homegrown chipsets. What we don't see is availability of raw materials. I think we are pushing the envelope too fast, too much to expect that Gen AI will come and give you the result in 60 days. I would put very three simple towers to this: customers, people, and the process. Understanding customers' behavior, understanding customers' needs, and what business problem they go through on a day-to-day life gets you closer to the real problem being solved for the customer. And inadvertently, it also helps customer choose you as your trusted partner or a partner of choice in solving their business problems. Most of these business problems, most of the customers needs people and technology. So getting the right team, getting the right partnerships from the technology vendors, which is ever evolving, ever changing, is of the utmost importance. And choosing not just the right platform or the technology, but getting the right people to deploy those technologies, addressing customers' business needs, is of the utmost importance. And that's what, for me, in the last 31 years, as when you mentioned, has worked for me. And that magic formula has continued, irrespective of the decade that we are, and the solution and the platforms that we run. The most important also in this piece is how relevant you become to the customer's problem. Yeah, so this is something which has worked very well, be it a startup, be it a mature large conglomerates or a global MNCs. End of the day, all of us are trying to solve customers' business problems. So first of all, you cannot take India as a one geography. There is geographies and geographies and geographies inside the country. There are multiple cultures. There is cross-domain industry, customers going global as well as going domestic very big. And at the same time, there's an SMB, there is mid-market, there is growing digital native startups, and so on. So it's a very, very diverse country when it comes to customer, when it comes to segments, geography, language, and so on and so on. You touched a very important, aspect in your question: culture, right? The most important, it's very crucial. Uh, Not knowing just one person or two-person in the organization will get you the success. Knowing how culture operates within the enterprise, within the customer's organization, and then in turn in the ecosystem is extremely, extremely relevant, and it helps you navigate during the tough conversations and during difficult situations in every project it comes through. And it's only knowing the culture, knowing the way to solve the problem in a very win-win or an amicable manner defines the success. So culture, in a very diverse location, diverse country like India is very important. And this, if I take the same analogy to Asia Pacific or the Middle East Africa, we've got multiple countries, we've got multiple cultures in these geographies and regions as well. So the same fundamentals applies, the same technologies, same business problems, and same customer environments needs to be addressed with culture at the core. And then you have to bring your technical expertise, you have to bring your domain into play in those environments to succeed. So again, different times, different eras, different decades has its own set of ways to define, grow, and build business. Uh, If you take yourself 2 decades back, it was all about organic growth, and expanding within the domain, within the country, because the resources were limited. We weren't that connected a world. We weren't that available as a world, right? Data centers were handful. Network connectivity and bandwidth was was a premium. Making a video call like this and doing an interview was a dream come true, right? At that point of time. So if you do look at those days, it was core networks and fundamentals being put in place. So you had to focus on that and make sure that you're putting, the basic layer, the platform layer, for customers to do their work and keep the systems connected. Push a button of the next decade, everybody assumes that we are connected, we've got internet, we've got all systems running all the time, and so on and so on, right? Uh, so uh, so the next decade was clearly about how quickly we can expand, do the coverage of different solutions, and bring in different proof of concepts, different solutions into the market, be it Middle East, Africa, or be it Europe, be it Asia Pacific or India. I call it, not me, but many of the industry leaders call it a global South. That's the new acronym for some of the areas that we are seeing. So global South actually is taking good advantage out of this last 20 years, because we didn't have legacy. Some of the other markets, they still have to play with the legacies. I still get calls in the middle of the night from different time zones, uh, how to handle the green screens. There are still terminals available in some of the old banking and financial institutions with the green screens being there. So at least in the global South, we didn't have that legacy issue, so we could modernize. So it was purely getting availability of the networks and so on, to building a very resilient network in the next 10 years, high availability, everyone, so on. And and the last 3 5 years, we all know it's all about data and AI, or AI and data. uh, we've come of age so much that today we expect that at a click of a button, every process is automated and every data is available, right? So when you look at these three eras, your growth, your business models have to align to what are the needs of those times. Today, if you do not have an AI first policy within your offerings, you will be irrelevant for the customer or that country. If you cannot handle data projects or large data center management projects or high availability, and of course, how can I miss cybersecurity? you know uh, unless you put these aspects together, it will not resonate. So while we were focused on organic business building, going deeper, way back in 20 years, 15 years, today we just go and buy those skills through acquisitions, through mergers, and keep expanding the portfolio in every 6, 12, 18 months. So we've come of age from building to bind and then getting the platform together. And that's been the growth mantra for a lot of us. Going from organic to inorganic, plus organic, as the mantra for a lot of us. Many large players you see today announcing acquisitions or buyout of multiple large companies, and typically they buy for two factors: either to expand the geography or to expand the capability. So it's these factors which are driving the growth, and the same applies, to my experience as well. Between acquiring companies, acquiring skills, and in the as well building the skills and building the competencies. Right. So there is, again, simply put, there's either attitude or there's aptitude, right? Uh, and instead of you nurturing the talent, my personal viewpoint and my personal style of mentoring has been adapt to the younger talent. We had Gen Z, we had Gen Y, we had it, and I don't know what new generation will come. Uh, it is instead of they adapting to what we are, I think for me, the mantra is 180-degree opposite. We have to adapt to what they are. Okay. Uh, so when you mentor or when you nurture these leaders, uh, you have to let their good things blow up in a very positive manner. Let them glow, let them grow on whatever already is good with them, and then you identify what are the areas which they can complement their already strengths, already pieces that they run together. And that's a bigger task on the management or on the managers leading the those mentor or mentorees and people. uh, and and uh, it's a very high level of commitment on both sides. And maybe you can put five points higher on the mentor, and a 5 point lesson on the mentoree, because it is the responsibility of the experienced managers, people who have passed through the skills, to pass on that and make sure that that narrative for the younger talent or the grooming talent it gets to hear, gets to listen from the senior management. uh, so you can do that for attitude, and you can do that for aptitude as well, right? If the attitude is ripe, let it grow, right? Then you can just build onto the skills and the capability that you get. If the attitude is not apt, is not right, or it needs a change on the direction that the leaders are taking, at least they've got the aptitude, they know the subject, they know what is to be done. You just need to tell them how, and where to, the do's and the don'ts, and get them to practice in such a manner that it becomes a natural DNA. It yeah, it becomes a natural way of their addressing a particular business challenge or a problem, internal or external. So basically, you just have to be close to them, right? Get to know them, and invest your time, be committed, and take that ownership that these leaders have to go to the next level. Many of the customers today have graduated from what we call this term in our technology business as POC, proof of concepts. Uh, Many of them are evolving from learnings and findings of the POCs, which they have done, pilots, which they have done in the last 12, 24, 36 months, to taking these systems in productionized environment. There is a shift happening. you know uh, if you search on the web, or if you try to watch some analysis or read some reports, people will tell you 90% of 95% of the AI use cases are not working. Gen AI is not performing or not giving the results to that extent. Uh, but in my conversations with the CXOs, I think we are pushing the envelope too fast, too much, to expect that Gen AI will come and give you the result in 60 days, 180 days, and so on. It cannot be done, right? The system takes time. The language models take time to mature and to retrain and learn the way things happen. So again, the fundamentals has been put in place. The proof of concepts have not failed. They have now evolved to the productionized stage. Has it become mass enterprise wide? It takes time. It's not yet happened, but in the next 12, 24, 36 months, we will see a way high evolved businesses using generative AI, using the agentic AI solutions and bots in a very different manner. Uh, the next interview, maybe in the next 12 months, that you might do, maybe an avatar of Atul Ahuja, and you may not know whether I'm really talking to you with my knowledge, things, perspective, and so on, right? So it's maturing extremely well, extremely nice. But it just the euphoria created so much about AI. Maybe set a wrong expectations with the people that the results will be so quick. Uh, so so this is on the Gen AI and the agentic AI, or the enterprise AI part of the world. But there is fundamentally a lot of work happening on the data side. Uh, every business head, every CXO that I talk to today already has a strategy on how to massage the data and get the data in a form where AI use cases will become very, very quick to deploy. So there is data strategies being done across industries, across customers, be it regulated, non-regulated. You could do it in a on-prem data center that you have, or you could do it in a colo, or located in a regional data centers because of regulatory compliance. Or some of the non-regulated industries can even try the big hyperscalers of the world to scale up. So whatever suits whoever, there is capacity being put together, the models being put together, but a lot of work is happening on the data side, and that is very heartwarming, very welcoming, because this will lay the foundation for AI to succeed in a very big manner. Look, in the past we have faced we've been on the wrong side of cyber threats, knowingly, unknowingly, things have happened, right? There is a lot of shift which is happening today. I think again in the last 3, 4, 5 years, a lot of education has been done to the end user. Do not click on this fishy email. Do not click on this video which doesn't look like it was sent by your daughter or sent by your wife, or your friends, and so on. So a lot of stuff has happened. Uh, but of course, the attackers are always one step ahead. They think of innovative ideas to reach into the end user, at the same time, even on the application side, and so on. And a lot of businesses, lot of customers have used point solutions. They have used uh, 20 different vendors, or 30 different vendors, to make them cyber protected, to make them as resilient as they can. But it's always a catch up game, right? In this race, in this game, it's not about getting attacked, it's not about getting compromised. I am very sure you and I are also compromised, but but what's limited damage that we can uh, be survive with, and how quickly we can recover the systems, the data, and the identities back, without being having to let go of the threat, is something that you need to build upon. uh, and that's what is happening, a lot of customers on the core applications and the data side. Since as I mentioned, a lot of work is happening on the data, and that means there's a lot of work happening on the application side as well. Even if I get as a hacker, even if I get hang of your data, you will not be able to make a sense of the data, because I would have classified my data in such a manner. I would have put the data structure in such a manner that everything will look like Greek, and numbers which don't make sense. So still some work needs to be done, but one definite trend, even that I see across, is many of these point solutions are getting replaced by a platform strategy by the customers. So they're going with one platform, one vendor, or two vendors, to ease up the integration, because you don't want to be just putting the 25 different software pieces together and always play a catch up game. So look, 10 years is a long period. Okay. uh, you can look at 10 years back, but looking at 10 years ahead is, to be honest, extremely difficult. Right? Innovations will come and it will disrupt a lot of things. Availability of raw materials to design new chipsets, new silicon, world may define something in a very, very different manner. Uh, today we are seeing data centers under the water. Today we are seeing data centers in the desert. Today we are seeing data centers. I don't know if it'll be in the air, in the space sometime. So anything, and then though the innovations come, you may need to design some of your systems, some of your semiconductors for that environment, for that capacity, for that kind of compute. Uh, so it's a big supply chain, it's a big industry, aspect. But definitely, as we see the demand for GPUs, the AI chipsets coming through, uh, uh, the best of the vendors that we all know today, they are thriving. They're doing extremely well. At the same time, a lot of large players are developing their indigenous, their homegrown chipsets as well, right? be it cost as the constraint, or be it availability, because you really want to be building capacity, right? So that's we already see it, but what we don't see is availability of raw materials. uh, and there are some fundamental works being happening. uh, uh, I'm very confident in the next 2 years we'll get some new rare earths mineral out, which will redefine the way you could run a 1 million transaction in a ultra nano chipset, in a millisecond, that kind of a situation. So there is a lot of research, there is a lot of natural work happening there, but going a decade ahead is very difficult, to be honest. I don't think in the customer's mind or the CXO's mind today there is a any apprehensions or any difficulties when it comes to technology in the mind. Uh, Getting API integrations, getting systems integrated, replatforming, refactoring. These are some of the technical jargons we as the tech people use to modernize the customer's landscape, customer's application. But it's entirely mapped to the strategy, and it's entirely mapped to the risk-taking capabilities that a business can afford. Okay. Uh, Today we've got answers to all. uh, if you want to modernize your legacy applications uh, in the next 30 days, I have a wrapper, and I will put a wrapper around and take you to modernize just the basic with the basic wrapper. But if I had to rewrite, if I had to redo the entire application to the last line of the code, I will draw up a strategy with the customer that first set of priority applications, second set of applications, third set of applications, over the next 6, 12, 18 months, we will modernize by either replatforming or refactoring. Okay. And with this assessment, there may also be an answer that don't touch these applications. They're really legacy, they're end of life. We don't even want to touch them. It is not worth taking all the effort to modernize, because it's going to come its own of its own, is going to end of life, right? Uh, so it is this strategy which is making a lot of easiness for the customers. It's just a matter of time. Okay. To go containerize the apps, to do Kubernetes, and to do serverless. It's just a strategy and a matter of time. Uh, there is no gap in the tools. There is no gap in the processes. It's all doable. It's all being done actually. We have to keep the environment and the sustainability, into the core here, right? Because you can build data centers which are inefficient, and inadvertently it'll bring issues in the environment, or in the lifespan of the things. So policymakers, actually, uh, you know all of them are first capturing data. The data resiliency and the data privacy remaining within the country, or within the zone and the region, is the most important piece that they're putting through. uh, some of the large smart cities, citizen portals, citizen services are of the utmost importance, right? Uh, a lot of national IDs have been created, which are the base for all kinds of authentication, be it passing subsidy to the poor, especially in countries that you and I, we come from. You and I may look the richer part of this, but there is a lot of friends and families and citizens of our who still are not connected to the basic service. They still need to be, you know, subsidies need to be provided, government need to take care, and things and so on, right? So when you look at these systems getting into place, uh, a lot of cost effective, low cost transaction models needs to be put in place, because simply the affordability, in Africa, or in the tier 3, tier 4 cities of India, you cannot afford to pay, because they will be depositing 10 cents, 20 cents of or a dollar a day. Nobody's depositing $10,000 a day in the transaction, but you still need to have a secure transaction for that also going through, right? So when you look at that low cost of transaction systems in the countries which still needs support for development and to the next level, the dynamics change, right? You may need to balance that piece as well, and that's where diversity of these service providers, local data centers, regional players, the global ones providing capacity, capability, all of this comes into the play. And of course, you have to think about governance. You have to think about security. You have to think about the data at the first priority, first most level, uh, for the policymakers. uh, Different technologies will come into play based on where the data center is getting set up, right? Uh, you may set up a data center where energy supply is extremely cost effective and you've got ample of it, right? So but you may have to do more on the cooling systems. And at the same time, some data centers go up in a place where providing energy is costly, but cooling down energy is much more easier, right? So when you look at these diverse aspects of the strategy that governments or large data center service providers think through, everyone is bringing net zero formula into play, right? At least if I don't have any a report to share or numbers to back it up, but even if net zero is not being achieved, but the intent is very clear from all service providers and all builders of this infrastructure to be net zero, right? Net neutral getting there is of a great thought process too. And we all, being a technology fraternity world, we have an added responsibility, right, to make some advancements, to make some innovations, so that we don't add fuel to the fire, right? At least we can help in that. And when I talk to some of the product heads, when I speak to some of the architects who are designing these, they are putting a balancing act between the the energy needs and then the cooling needs associated with it, without compromising compute and availability, because the design needs to be kept in the place that you should be able to scale up and meet the need of the customer as well. So many state of the art facilities are getting done up, especially in our region again, right? I think we are blessed in global south as a region. uh, we've got rich in natural resources. We've got handful of things available which work in our favor. I would focus on smart applications. If I have Because the needs of the user, the needs of the application demand drives everything, right? uh, if I can strike a right balance between, you know I would say, over automation or over digitization to smart applications which helps you do the work, it will balance off the load on the back end infrastructure and the energy needs, or the other aspects of this. uh, Sometimes we end up writing or automation so much that there is duplication, there is overlapping. If the applications can be smartly reused, and I think you also mentioned earlier in the interview and the discussion about how do you integrate the system. So if the integration strategy is right, if the apps are taken the right manner, it will automatically optimize the right infrastructure and the computer at the back end, right? uh, Today we're not at that luxury, because we have a lot of applications which we can't just overnight switch off and switch on. So while we move towards modernized apps, very lightweight thin apps which do a lot of work, mobile is a classic example. You can practically do everything on the mobile today, right? Transactions to storage to everything. So if once these applications go through a right fitment, uh, it will change the way a lot of things get done at the back end. And I think personally, I think the next I'm contradicting myself now, because I'm going to say a next decade, right? Uh, uh, could be focused on the applications. Okay, I think, and I take a lot of confidence and pride from the identity system which got developed in India, right? Uh, that has been a single most game changer for not just a citizen, but for banks, for insurance, for retail, for stock exchanges. You name it. The same identity system is being leveraged to do a 10 rupee transaction to a 10 million rupee transaction, and things and so on. So and we know we all need to start thinking much deeper on which are those smart application services which will take the load off, right? Yeah, health could be another, right? uh, why should there be 50 different health systems, and why should there be 50 health identities across 7 hospitals that we go, example, right, within the same city, right? In an example. So a lot of the, and I'm again, some of this stuff is already done, but I'm saying that there could be many such areas, both citizen facing, consumer facing, as well as business to business. So a lot of stuff can be done on that, and that for me will change the shape, change the way a lot of us do the work at the back end. AI first, enterprises, scalability, long term transformation, both. These they go hand in hand, right? If you develop people, it will transform into the business getting closed. Multi-cloud flexibility. No straight answer for this, because this is entirely dependent on how your organization is structured and how widespread you are. And it could be combination of both. For certain things, you need to centralize, and for certain things, you need to decentralize and give flexibility to the businesses to run some business, in that region, in that country, or in that unit. Governance, for sure. Local customizations, AI driven, trust and relationship. Nothing works without these two. The fear of adopting an innovation has to be balanced with what you can try, what you can build, and what business needs, right? We like it or we don't like it, disruption will happen, right? If we adopt it in a systemic, in a well planned manner, uh, there is either no pain or very less pain. But if the innovation or the disruption is forced upon you, then it's extremely painful. And that principle applies to whether it's about the education in for your children, or whether it's the place that you live, or the IT systems that you consume, or whatever you may do, right? I think change is the only constant, and and all of us have to innovate, learn, adapt. That's the only way to survive in this new world. As I was with some senior gentlemen, hearing them share some advice. uh, there'll be, in the future, they're saying there'll be no job description that will be written, right? You will write your job description of what problems you can solve, right, rather than the skills that you carry. And that's a fundamental shift between all that we've been doing, all this, not just 31 years, maybe more than that, for the past, right? So that's my honest opinion, honest advice, honest input, that we all should learn, innovate, train, reskill, and make sure that we continuously be relevant to solving problems, and not the skill sets that we just carry in the back of our pockets, or multiple pockets that we carry within our body. Thank you so much for your interaction. Really lovely to speak to you. Thank you so much.